Welcome to our YouTube channel, Moneyline with Nancy TV. This is where you get the latest updates on business, finance, economy, market, as well as investment information. If you couldn't follow us live on television, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, press the notification bell so that you can get notifications. Thank you. Enjoy this video. All right, welcome back to the program. My guest is Bolade Agboola. She's an investment research analyst at Chapel Hill Denham, and we'll be looking at the petrol price hike. Hello, Bolade, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Nancy. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Can I see Bolade? Because I can only hear your voice. Good. Okay, Bolade, do you understand what is happening around this petrol price hike?
Yes, of course I do.
Okay, so please explain. Because there are so many theories out there.
All right. I'll just like to take us back a little bit. Looking at in September, when the PMS price was raised to 897 naira per liter, our estimate at Chapel Hill Denham was that given that oil price per barrel was $75 per barrel, it was $75, and exchange rate was at about 1.6. We'd expected that in conjunction with other costs, we estimated that PMS prices that will be sold across filling stations would be about 1,171 naira per liter. So with the PMS price as of that time at 897 naira per liter, it means that there was a shortfall of 23%. Which we believe was still subsidy, because then the NNPC was the sole buyer of PMS from Dangote as of that time. What I think has happened now is that, the NNPC has said that all marketers can, go directly to Dangote to access this product. So there is no need for the NNPC to subsidize anymore. So we can inevitably say there is no subsidy. Plugging September's average oil price per barrel at 72 and average exchange rate at 1,592 naira to $1, it's brought us to about 83 naira per liter, like what we expect will be sold to the domestic users, which is not, so far from what is currently being sold. That's 1,030 naira per liter. So it is in alignment with our views, and we believe that, what has happened is a total deregulation of the commodity. Thank you.
So you're saying that this is a full deregulation of the downstream sector, as it concerns PMS pricing. So is the view of Chapel Hill to say that this is total deregulation? It has fully come in place.
Given the prices the price in which it is currently, and our estimate, it reflects a total deregulation.
So that means there's no component of subsidy any longer in this pricing. Is that what it means also? Is that what you guys are saying?
That is what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay. Because some Nigerians don't understand why this should be. If, for example, landing costs that used to be there before, some other charges when we import were there, and now the NNPC is buying from Dangote, it's supposed to be cheaper because those prices are no longer there.
Okay, so I would like to put in perspective that actually it is cheaper. First off, we have experienced a significant depreciation of the naira since the beginning of the year. Year-to-date depreciation has been around 44%. So it is not like last year where there was no exchange rate was around 450, 460 on the official window, and about 700. We've seen the depreciation about 2 times. So we cannot say it is not cheaper, right? If we want to look at how PMS prices are, come about, there are 2 major factors, which is the exchange rate and the oil price itself. If we were still importing most of the fuel that we consume, we would, like you mentioned earlier, we would have to adjust for, transportation, that's from the countries that we're importing from, and also insurance and some other costs which are priced in dollars. And currently, we are not seeing that, given Dangote, supplying most of the fuel we are consuming. So I think that there's been cost savings. It might not be that price has totally come down. There's been cost savings, but in terms of exchange rate is the main determinant to why it's not looking like there's been a relief since Dangote refinery has come on stream.
Yeah, because even before he came on stream, there were a lot of, calculations out there that it would not significantly reduce the price, as it were. So from your analysis now, that's what we're saying. So if there's an adjustment upside to the price of crude oil and a depreciation of the naira, it will go higher than that. So should Nigerians actually brace for more hike in the future, in the no distant future, because we've seen 2 hikes so far in 1 month and perhaps 3 hikes in 2 months, if I'm not mistaken.
When you mean hikes, are you talking about the monetary policy?
No, petrol price. Petrol
Okay.
price, because if the price of crude goes higher than it is right now internationally, as well as perhaps FX depreciation, because we've seen the naira at about 1.6 and co. It depends on when this one that we are consuming now, when that feedstock was given, crude oil. I hope you understand what I'm saying, because that crude oil would have been given at a price perhaps even lower than now. So if Dangote refinery is getting like new crude, that is new feedstock from NNPC Limited, though there's a naira for crude components, it will still be adjusted for the international price, as it were. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Though the dollar component is out, but that naira component that has gone higher will still reflect in the price.
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes, so if in a situation where there's oil prices, go rise up significantly and there's significant depreciation of the naira, there is going to be higher PMS prices. That is what it's supposed to look like. But in my perspective, I don't see this happening. First, looking at the oil price leg, we've seen that oil prices has averaged about $82 per barrel in this year. And going forward, we expect it to average about $75 per barrel, which is lower than what it's currently doing now. And my projection is based on the fact that we expect slower demand next year. Given that most economies are tilting towards alternative source of energy, cleaner forms of energy. However, the downside risk to oil price, coming down is escalation of geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Looking at the exchange rates leg, we highlight that there are several things that the government, in terms of the fiscal policy, fiscal authorities, monetary authorities are doing to ensure that there's improved liquidity for improve FX liquidity in the market to ensure that the exchange rate, is stable. We've seen several interventions. We've seen the CBN come up with policies to ensure that there's inflows of foreign portfolio investments so as to boost liquidity. I highlight that the government will continue to, we expect rather that the government will continue to make efforts in that regard to ensure that there's stability and most importantly, appreciation of the naira, because where we can control in terms of PMS pricing is the exchange rates.
Should we expect a formal communication from NNPC Limited concerning this deregulation? Because the NNPC Limited is a bit quiet on that deregulation has taken place, perhaps confirming what you and some of your colleagues think about full deregulation. That's one. Then number two, do you think that Nigerian economy is ready for a full deregulation? I asked this question yesterday also, bearing in mind that when the price of petrol goes up, it influences everything. Of course, I wonder what core inflation would be when the next reading comes out from the NBSE. Even food, as it were, because you're seeing transportation and some other indices that make up the inflation basket would definitely go up.
In terms of readiness of Nigeria's economy to full deregulation. I think it's a dicey one because there is a need for full deregulation to ensure that government has more, there's no need for subsidy payments and it can invest in productive things in the economy, which will ensure economic growth. On the other hand, like you mentioned, inflation is still high, and it's not as if there's been any significant developments in the lives of people. So I think it's a very dicey situation, and I cannot just put a call to it that total deregulation is what we are ready for, what we can do. But if we take cognizance of how we've seen deregulation in diesel prices and how
And
even though
kerosene.
the price Yes, even though the prices have gone significantly higher, Dangote refinery coming on stream, provided some relief, and people have been able to move on from that. And it has also, especially in kerosene, we've seen individuals, members of society, look forward to other sources of fuel, which is gas, LPG, and most people have ditched kerosene and moved into LPG.
And
That is
LPG is
quite
expensive too. A kilogram now is very expensive. 1 kilogram of
yeah.
LPG.
So I believe that it's something that we would eventually adjust to if it happens. But there is a need for the government to also ensure that in terms of infrastructure and things that will make the life of individuals easier are put in place. Not that we are making a sacrifice in terms of allowing this deregulation to happen, and then every other aspect of our lives continue to suffer. And I think in such a situation, it is not sustainable, and there may, it will result to maybe subsidy coming back if both legs are not handled, at equilibrium or in balance.
The earlier question which I asked about formal communication from the NNPC Limited regarding the regulation, should we expect that, or because of the PIA, the NNPC Limited shouldn't speak?
My opinion on that is that would expect that NNPC will give formal communication, because that would signify transparency on their part, and it will allow analysts, members of the society, and general the economy know the direction of the NNPC. I believe that a formal communique, right, should be communicated to everyone. But we know that we've seen, if you look at historical, it's not all the time that they come out to give specific communiques about their transaction or anything they want to do or they have done. So this is just them this is based on history, and I expect that they should, but I really cannot call the shots for the NNPC.
NNPC, I understand that. How do you foresee allowing other marketers to purchase petrol directly from Dangote refinery? How do you see that shaping up the petrol market eventually, perhaps around competition, as well as even fair prices? Let me put it that way. That's one. The other question is, would Dangote refinery be able to supply enough petrol for the country, perhaps around 35 million liters or so that we need daily?
So first, speaking to the first leg of the question, which is marketing, the downstream sector. Downstream sector is a very highly competitive sector, and we expect that in such an environment there will be fair prices, because if you don't sell at a price that is convenient to me, I'll go to your neighbor and that. So it's a very competitive market, and I expect that it will lead to fair pricing, and there will not be significant difference. And if there's significant difference in your own price, you will definitely go to another person. There's opportunity to buy from
But
another.
but they'll all be buying from Dangote, as it were.
So
Do you also foresee perhaps a situation of, I know monopoly has been thrown around a lot, but do you foresee a situation where the players come together and perhaps agree on like a price gouging situation. I hope you understand what I mean. If the supply will be gotten from Dangote, assuming that there is no space anymore for imports.
So you are saying if there's like and I think that that's where the government would come in, and that's where NNPC as a regulator in that sector would
NNPC
come
is
in.
no
Of
longer
course,
a regulator, it's still an operator, but I understand
okay,
what you're saying. Perhaps it will
yes,
be
as
the
a
energy supplier of last resort, that if anything
yes,
is happening, it comes in.
and the government, will come in. So in that situation, they already understand the value chain of the market. They understand that this is what price should be. So for Dangote, he sells to the market or the marketers, because he will not sell at maybe different prices to every marketer. I believe that will not be the situation. If he's selling at 900 after adjusting for his own costs and margins, he will sell 900 to every marketer that comes with to buy. So it is now the oil marketers themselves that adjust for their own margin based on costs that they incurred, to transport some of the products that they got from Dangote. So I think at that place is where the NNPC can, or the NNPC, the government, can look, the NURPC rather, which is the regulator, can look at, okay, if this is it's too much, or it's too much for as a margin
That's
that
the
they are.
NMDPRA you mean? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, go ahead. DRA,
NNPC,
yes.
yeah, the NMDPRA would be able to, say that, okay, this margin is too much. And we also have the consumer protection agencies, which also, would be looking at that. So I don't expect that, there will be the oil marketers will be able to take advantage of average Nigerians.
So will this guarantee supply, that's availability? Because this is a country that has suffered from fuel scarcity. You still go around some states, or even here in Abuja, you're still seeing that a lot of some petrol stations still have long fuel queues. Many of those long fuel queues are at NNPC Limited filling stations, understandably so, because theirs could be cheaper. You are in Lagos, and I assume that that might also be the same. Many Nigerians have also said, let the product be available. I'm even paying more. I don't have availability. So do you think that this would address the issue of availability once and for all and stop scarcity of petrol, especially even towards Christmas?
Yeah, my opinion on that is that it would really help in terms of how we see fuel scarcity in the country. If we look at what Dangote estimates to be supplying on a daily basis to the economy, he estimates 30 to 35 million liters per day. And looking at the last data from the NMDPRA as of July 2023, it is estimated that we consume about 47 million liters per day. In Nigeria, which also, is about 47 million liters per day. And if we look at 30 to 47, it is more than half. And I'm looking at it also for 35 to 47 million liters, but it's still a significant portion of what we consume daily. So I believe that this would provide some respite in how we see fuel scarcity consistently, in previous times. I believe that this would help to reduce the fuel scarcity that we're seeing and the shortfall that we will need to import, because we expect that there will still be a shortfall, because if we are seeing if Dangote is supplying 30 million liters and what we consume is about 47 million liters, that's a 17 to 12 million liters shortfall, which will still be imported. I also expect that the NNPC will be able to take care of that leg.
Okay, just two questions for you before we go. With the liberalization and this full deregulation, which you've talked about, has taken effect, how much investment do you see for that sector now, since this would open up the market? Then, secondly, I don't know. Of course, you look at oil and gas in your organization. I know you would have heard about the $50 billion investment commitment. that was said by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Lupobiri. What do you think about that, for him saying, we're expecting about $50 billion investment into the country, which is a pledge, actually, it has not come.
Okay, so to answer the what I think about investment in the oil and gas downstream sector now,
yeah.
yes. So I believe that it's a positive one, because some of the challenges that investors have is how, if ease of doing business and how they can make profits from doing business in a particular sector. So I believe that this would foster investment in the downstream oil and gas sector if there is total deregulation of the sector, as businesses can calculate, oh, what is my cost and how much am I going to make. Those things are clear, which we expect, or we link to ease of doing business in the oil and gas downstream sector. So I believe that this will foster, investments in that space. Looking at the pledge by, the pledge, I believe that there's still, it's the 50 billion is more related to the upstream, not the downstream
Yes, I
sector.
know. Yeah.
Is related to more of the upstream sector. And I believe that there are opportunities in the upstream sector. We've seen a lot of transaction in the pipeline, and some that, have gotten green lights and a go ahead, which, it's very, very good for the upstream sector and the economy at large. We'll take example of the Seplat MPNU deal. You know that when the IOCs intend to sell off some of their assets, maybe the onshore aspect of it, when they want to, divest from the onshore assets. In the process, if the process is taking long, maybe like a year or 2 years process, they may not do significant investment, because there's no more interest in the assets. So it will mean that an asset that can produce about 150,000 barrels per day is not doing as much, because there's no significant investment in that place. It's doing 50, it's doing 25,000 barrels per day, because there's no significant investment. What is going on is more of maintenance to ensure that the asset is still running. But now that there's been a go ahead, and then indigenous companies like Seplat, which have track record of transforming any asset that they take, and make it more productive. If it comes on stream, and most of them would have taken loans and commitments from banks and everything to ensure that the project or the assets or the sale goes through, they will definitely want to make returns. So they will put in more effort to ensure that this return, the assets, gives the right return or the expected return that they desire. So to ensure that they are always in profit. So I think that this kind of commitment, or the government allowing the sale of this transaction, allowing this transaction to happen, is a very positive one for the oil and gas upstream sector and the economy at large, because we've highlighted that in terms of revenue generation, the oil and gas sector, contributes about 70 to 80% in terms of, what we get as revenue from,
Anyway,
for the government.
yes, we'll continue to look at that, because that's such a huge one. So we really need to, they say the devil is in the details. So it's not just about the minister speaking. We would really like a breakdown of what that is. There should be a timeline for that. It's not just about saying something, 10 billion here, 5 billion here. Where are all the billions, as it were? So we need a breakdown. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. In case this is your first time watching us, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, drop your comments as well as like, and most of all, share our content. Bye. Bolade for joining us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, that's Bolade Agboola, an investment research analyst with Chapel Hill Denham, and we've been talking about the petrol price hike.